Hey, everybody, it's Mark Yegge. Welcome back. And it's November 2023. And so, even though we're in a red market and this market has been selling off, I think it's still probably a good time to keep getting your watch list ready. So, I'm going to give you a few cash flow machine stocks that are great for covered calls in this video. So, here we go. All right, the first one we'll start with is Arista Networks. ANET is the ticker symbol. Look at that chart. I mean, from lower left to upper right, most of the chart, and this chart goes back a couple of years, like 5 years, but for 3 of those 5 years, this chart is going from lower left to upper right. It's a nice chart. It's got a 96 relative strength rating, great earnings increases from 287 to 458 to 646, and just continues to chug away and increase. And this is a company that's in cloud networking software, so they're probably going to do okay. And throughout this red market, you can see that top line there, that black line, the S&P 500, as it's been going down. Yes, it's come down as well, but the other stocks in the S&P 500 are relatively coming down more. CrowdStrike, CRWD is the next one. Now, this is not such a long-term great chart. It had a big pullback from 260 all the way down to less than 100. Now it's bouncing back. If you'd have bought it at 100, and who knows where the bottom is, right? You can go up to, you could have ridden it all the way up to 180 for an 80% return. But it's gone from 67 cents to $1.54 to 283 to 353 next year. It's got a nice growing set of earnings numbers on it. And you can see that reflected in the chart. Again, a 96 relative strength rating. And these guys are also in the cloud. They're more in the security-based part of the cloud. Speaking of cloud, here is ServiceNow, and ServiceNow is a cloud-based IT software. And so looking at them, they've got, 592 in earnings to 759 to 820 to $10. Like, they're chugging away at earnings, right? And that's why they have a relative strength. So it's the reason I'm pointing out relative strength is when the markets are selling off and you have high relative strength. In other words, this relative strength of 94 means it's doing better than 94% of the other stocks in the S&P 500 lately. Then those tend to be the leaders when the market starts to go back up. Now, I don't know when that's going to happen. It might happen today, might happen tomorrow, next week, a month from now. But when it does, you should be ready. And you got to be ready to buy something when the market turns green. We have a market timing system in our cash flow machine system. It's a covered call investment system. But that market timing component for us is important because you get the tailwind behind you. When the stock markets are moving up, the stocks are probably moving up with it. And if they got a relative strength here and they've been holding up during the sell-offs, then they're probably going to be pretty strong coming out of these sell-offs. At least that's what my research has shown me. All right, let's keep looking in the security business, and we'll look at Palo Alto Networks. Again, a nice left to right, lower left to upper right chart. The stock has gone from 40 in the last 3 years, to 260. Pretty good. And you can see it's because those earnings go from 205 to 252 to 444 to 456, growing up to almost $5. And so this has got a nice 95 relative strength rating on it as well. Let's take a look at the next one. The next one is Zscaler. ZS is the symbol. And again, this thing is basically consolidating here in the last several months. It doesn't look like it's chugging up, but it's holding up. And that's because it's got good earnings. So when you have good fundamentals on a company that's doing well, again, this is the cloud theme that I'm talking about today. It seems to be these clouds are the new leaders out there. Zscaler is one of those as well. Let's go on and go to PDD Holdings. Okay, they're a Chinese company that's also in e-commerce. So look at that chart. Pretty good if you'd have bought it at 30 and now it's at 100. But we're not trying to pick the bottoms. We're trying to sell covered calls against these stocks. We want them to go up because we make our maximum amount of income. This is an income strategy when they go up. PDD is the symbol on that one. ELF Beauty is another one that I've been talking about for a while. It pulled back and it's hugging its 200-day moving average, I don't love when stocks are below their 50, but a lot of stocks are below their 50 right now. And this is actually a 10-week moving average, which is about the 50-day moving average, the red line. And it's been above the 200, but below the 50 on a daily chart. And it's hugging that 200-day moving average, that 40-week moving average, that black line. And that's relatively strong in a market. You could see the relative strength is 97. So ELF Beauty Supplies is good too. All right, here's Atlassian. This is team. This is that team movement, cloud design. But it's basically allows teams to communicate with each other, and they pull back to the 200-day moving average. They've lost some relative strength here. They're the worst one of all, but their earnings are growing nicely, and this one could be a good one as well. It's probably the weakest out of the 8 that I pointed out, just because it's had a recent sell-off. About 6 of the last 8 weeks have been red or sell-off weeks, so you just have to be careful for that. So those are my picks for November. Those are the cash flow machine picks. They've got, they pay out a decent amount of juice, we call it, which is income from the premium of the option. They also are fundamentally fairly strong, have some good relative strength, all the things that we look for in a good quality stock to sell calls against and make that reliable income. So thanks for being here. Hope that was helpful, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye. Hi, I'm Mark Yegge. Every new year brings hope, but have you ever made those resolutions and by February they're out the window? Yeah, me too. This coming January 13th and 14th, join me at Your Greatest Year. It's an online summit dedicated to setting you on a path to transformation, abundance, and growth. Make your resolutions a reality. Let's create magic together in 2024. Make 2024 your greatest year.